Hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when you have grown weary of waiting for the promise of God?
You know, you could answer that one. That's one of your strong points. You know, we've been, I don't know, forced to be a wrong word, but I feel like directed into this subject as a being able to live in the midst of disappointment is how we've done well.
Yep.
It's just, you know, on the surface at a distance, people may get the wrong idea that it's just all miracles and breakthroughs. I mean, I'm sure you remember we had 10 people close to us in the church die in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you weather that? How do you navigate that kind of stuff? Personal friends, young people, horrible things. And how do you walk through that? How do you navigate that contending for a breakthrough and just not getting it without blaming God? The only way I know to do it is I don't hold God hostage to one particular answer. For example, I need a breakthrough in, let's just say, finances.
Yeah.
That if God is really good, then I'm going to get a breakthrough here. And what happens is people unintentionally hold their entire esteem in view of God's nature, presence, purpose, all that stuff is hinged on that one answer.
Yeah.
And so they withhold themselves from giving themselves completely to God in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not fair. It's not fair for our own development. It's not honest and correct towards God. What we have to do is learn how to celebrate all that God is doing right now. And that's why
Yep.
I constantly am hammering on this subject of feeding your heart on what God's doing.
Yep.
Feeding your heart. Think about, dwell, discuss, talk with other friends, share the good news of what is happening, because that fuels an atmosphere of anticipation. It keeps me constantly reminded of his goodness. I see where he's faithful time after time after time. And in that environment, it's really tough, honestly, to get discouraged. I may have this nagging problem here, and it may be a whole lot bigger than a money issue. It may be a health issue or family crisis or whatever.
Yeah.
This thing is always there, and it doesn't help to live in denial and pretend that it's not there. But it sure does help that that 90% of my life is filled with strength, so
Yep.
that I have the energy of God, if you will, the life of God stirred up within me, that I might have an answer for this 10% of my life that just seems to be dragging me down.
Yep.
You just can't afford to, I will not allow myself to accuse God. I will not allow myself to think of him as anything but good.
Yeah.
I will only accept information about him that affirms that.
Okay.
I won't, if somebody shares a testimony and they'll talk about how God used sickness in their family, in my heart, I retranslate it.
Yeah.
I don't need to try to correct everyone, and I don't bother with that. It's not my job.
Yeah.
But in my heart, as they say, I know that God gave me cancer. It brought my family together. All these people got saved as a result, and I'm so thankful for the privilege of enduring that disease. All right, I retranslated in my heart. God, I know you didn't give cancer. You're not the author of that devilish disease, but you're so big that you can win with any hand that's dealt.
Yeah.
And you reverse the effect of this, and I give you praise. So I'm able to rejoice with them without being combative, because I can celebrate the part of the story that's right. And that's what I do my whole life.
Yeah.
I have to retranslate and reinterpret things that go on, and I refuse to entertain ideas that bring his character into question. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Once I do it, it's a nosedive, because everything we do, everything we are, is hinged on his goodness.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. This question probably I get asked this one a bazillion times as well.
Yeah.
And from a follow-up question I want to ask you, just that people tend to ask a lot is, well, how do I know if it's, what if something caused this that I'm not aware of? So I need to go repent for it, or did somebody do some sin? And, so there's almost, they're trying to figure out why I call it the why theology. Why did this happen?
Right.
And the people I interact with, they get really caught up in that, where they just nosedive, like you said. What advice do you have for them obviously they're focused on what the Lord is doing, but this thing is eating people alive. You know, it's just eating at them in regards to, did I do something wrong? And how hard do I push in to find out if there's something I need to do to receive my breakthrough? That tension. I know,
It's huge.
Do you have any advice for people that really, you know what I mean?
I can tell people what I do. I don't know that anybody wants to follow, but
Yep.
I don't ask why.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't go into the whys, because what I do is this, is, Father, you know I want to learn, but you don't ever have to explain yourself to me. I am willing to live with mystery.
Yep.
What I know is enough. I know that you're good.
Yep.
And I know you've given promise for every situation. That is enough for me. I know I'm accountable for that.
Yep.
If you'll teach me, I would love it, but I don't hold you hostage to an answer. If you want peace that passes understanding, you usually have to give up your right to understand.
Yep.
You have to get it before you get an answer or an explanation.
Yep.
So that's my approach. In that approach, I will say, Lord, if there's something wrong with me, I'm in your word every day. And you said it's a sword. You said it cuts deep. I invite you, cut me deep.
Yeah.
Speak to me through your word. I'm with your people all the time.
Yeah.
I'm with close friends. I'm with strangers. Use somebody to give me the slap of a friend.
Yeah.
If that's what I need, please speak to me. I'm in your presence constantly. I love your presence. I worship. Your presence is like a consuming fire. Do something in me. That glory changes. Do something. But I'm not going to go on a witch hunt to find out what's wrong with my life so that I can feel better about my circumstances.
Yeah.
I feel like we, as believers, we have to be willing to live with mystery, or we don't do well.
Yeah. So never blaming God and being okay with mystery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't
Just
blame
be okay
God.
with that tension.
Yep. Be okay with mystery.
Yeah.
Be ready to learn, but don't. I won't sit there and wait. You know, like, if you'll explain yourself, I'll get up and move on in life. No, I've got to obey the last thing he told me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have the options of, as a soldier, you do the last thing the commanding officer told you to do. You don't have the option of saying, well, yeah, but this last battlefield didn't go so well. You don't have that option.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
That thing we have going, every time we hear a testimony, we always say, one day closer.
one day closer.
It's one day closer.
Yeah, just for the sake of those that are watching, of course, your hearing has been an issue that we've contended for a long time, many, many years. And the Lord gave me a very, very clear word. I could take you back to the location and how he spoke it and what he did. But in that process, there have been so many people that have been healed of deafness and different levels of deafness. And for the sake of the audience, I come back to the staff meeting and we'll share another story. In fact, one of them was bizarre because it actually ended up 85 people in one night got healed.
That was in Nashville.
It was Dallas. It was
in Dallas.
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
That's right.
85 people in one night, 82 within just a few minutes of each other. Just was one sweeping thing. Bizarre. So I come home and I share the story, and Eric's response to me as I share it to the whole staff, I look over at my son, and he'll look at me and he says, "We're one day closer, Dad." I go,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And that's it. Is you have to value mystery without putting blame, without having it tarnish or diminish our esteem of his nature and character.
Yep.
There's no lack in his end of the equation.
Yep.
And you've done it well.
Another thing that for me is Abraham waited a long time for his,
brother.
so his standard's pretty high. So I always told myself that one.
Yeah, 100 years.
Yeah, long time.
Oh, bummer.
So we can do it. That's my point.
That's right.
We can do it.